Well, good morning, everyone. Let's take our Bibles to 2 Corinthians chapter number 10, verses 3 through 5 for promise number 288. But before we do that, I want to invite you to my house tonight for our Thursday night fellowship, potluck style. We're doing international foods and kind of leading us into the Olympic weekend and the next X amount of days where the Olympics are going to be going on. We thought we'd just have international food night, your favorite food. Go ahead and bring that out tonight. Everything else will be provided, and so come on out and enjoy a little bit of prayer, a great deal of food and fellowship, and then we're going to spend a couple of minutes in God's Word being encouraged as we go. And so we want to invite you to that. And so just feel free to reach out and find out what the address is, how to get to my house so that we can enjoy this time together if you live in the valley. And so you're more than welcome to arrive at my house. And so let's get back to promise number 288 with 2 Corinthians 10, 3 through 5. Here's the promise. God promises that he will give us his power to destroy spiritual strongholds. And so that's found in 2 Corinthians 10, verse 3 through 5. In fact, let me read those to you so you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Starting with verse number 3, it says this, for though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. That means that there may be people involved, but our real war isn't with people. Our war is with what's going on behind the scenes. This is what he says in verse 4. He says, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. Listen, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. And so we're fighting a different battle, and this is hard for people to understand. That many people look at the battles that we have raging in our world as the physical battles that we need to fight those people, and technically speaking, we're not fighting people, we're fighting a wicked agenda of the enemy who has infiltrated the minds, and we're trying to help them understand who Christ is and help them bring every thought captive into the obedience of Christ. That involves even us after salvation. We're trying to do that. And so think about this. Listen, yesterday we watched in or looked in on God ending the threats from Egypt in a single mighty act. But in the New Testament, we're told that we have been personally equipped to handle the real battles we face that aren't about the people around us. I think sometimes we get fixated on people and we start assassinating character. We start using the same weapons our world does, where we try to make sure they get what's coming to them. Most Christians today fight using the same weapons the world does and think that God blesses our efforts when we do that. Listen to the verse again. Listen to what he says. He says this in verse 3. He says, for though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. They're not the cheap stuff the world uses that's just about getting people to stop making us mad. But they're mighty through God in the pulling down of strongholds. You see, we've got God's power given to us to fight a spiritual battle. Listen, we are casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God, so that we can bring into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. We want things to land where people are obedient to Christ. That means they're in a right relationship with him. And so listen, that person you fear, or that person that you are struggling with, you don't need to call them out. Think about it. We get so fixated on all the mistakes people are making that we want to make sure everybody knows every mistake people make. That's just our culture calling out to us. And sadly, Christians get sucked into the name calling, the mudslinging, and the garbage that goes on in our world today, trying to hurt people or hurt them back. And God doesn't have us doing that. Listen, most people think they're the champions of the cause because they got to expose somebody and they fell, and it was a catastrophic fall. Listen, Paul reveals, that isn't the real battle. It isn't against the fleshly representation or representative. It's the spirit behind it. Attacking the person only eliminates the person, but when we remember the wickedness behind it, we see the opportunity to reveal truth. I'd love to be able to reveal truth to people. I'm not in the Christian fight to see people hurt. I want to see people helped. I want people to know Jesus. Then verse number 5 kind of gives us that understanding that we're casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God, so that we can bring into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. That's the goal. Christ is the goal. So listen, consider what might be behind what you're experiencing, and remember that the person may only be the pawn, and they're in need of salvation. Don't get sucked into the games our world plays. Let's play by God's rules. Hope that helps. Hope to see you tonight. Have a great day.